Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive paradigm shift in Indian education. We're going to completely demystify the newly released Kaushal Vikas Grade 9 Skill Education textbook. Whether you're an educator, a school head, or a parent trying to figure out the future of skill-based learning, this document is a total game changer. It represents a profound shift in how we prep our adolescents for the real world. Let's get right into it. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll quickly cover 1. The vision for skill education. 2. 3 forms of work. 3. Structure, choice, and flexibility. 4. Transferable competencies in action. 5. Time and classroom implementation. And 6. Assessing skills and values. Section 1. The vision for skill education. Moving beyond the basics. To really grasp what this textbook is trying to do, we first have to look at the big picture vision set by the NEP 2020 and the NCFSE 2023. This vibrant Kaushal Vikas textbook, it's not your typical dry academic manual. It's literally the vehicle for transforming how adolescents interact with the world of work. As students hit the secondary stage, grades 9 through 12, they naturally have a much higher capacity for reflection and reasoning. This book is built to meet them exactly where they are, helping them tackle abstract ideas and complex realities through actual hands-on engagement. Think about the shift like this. The middle stage, grades 6 to 8, was all about dipping their toes in the water with broad project-based exposure. But grade 9 marks a crucial pivot. We're moving from just trying things out to taking a deep dive. The goal now is to build complex reasoning, solid communication, and transferable capacities that students can genuinely use across a huge variety of future careers. Section 2. 3 forms of work. The core architecture. Let's look at how the curriculum actually structures this deep dive into 3 specific pillars. According to the framework, all work falls into one of 3 broad buckets. First, work with life forms, think plants and animals. Second, work with machines and materials, where you're designing or modifying physical products. And third, work in human services, which is all about interacting with people and understanding human needs. The golden rule for grade 9 is that every student is required to do work related to at least one vocation from each of these 3 mandatory categories. Section 3. Structure, choice, and flexibility. Empowering schools. Now, you're probably wondering, if everyone has to cover all 3 forms of work, how does one single textbook work for the incredible diversity of schools across the entire country? Well, the curriculum solves this brilliantly. The book is broken down into 3 distinct units corresponding to those 3 forms of work we just mentioned. But instead of a rigid one-size-fits-all path, it blends a mandatory foundation with a ton of choices. Let's break that down. Every unit kicks off with a mandatory chapter to set the stage, like Chapter 1 on basic agricultural practices or Chapter 5 on shaping materials. After that, it's kind of a choose-your-own-adventure. Schools pick just one vocation from the illustrative chapters. So for Unit 1, maybe you pick rooftop gardening or maybe precision farming. It all depends entirely on your school's unique local context and resources. This quote absolutely hits the nail on the head. Out of the 21 vocations included in the book, none are strictly prescriptive. In fact, your school can pick something completely off-book, rooted entirely in your local community, as long as it hits those core NCFSE competencies. Flexibility is literally woven into the DNA of this program. Section 4. Transferable competencies in action. The core philosophy. This brings us to the true philosophical heartbeat of the whole curriculum. Here is the big mindset shift. We are no longer just training a kid to be a tailor or a farmer. No, we're using those specific vocations as a medium to teach foundational competencies that they can take absolutely anywhere. It's about cultivating broad capacities that work across a huge range of fields, regardless of the specific job title. Let's make that concrete with an example from the text. Say a group of students sets up an irrigation system for a school garden. They're figuring out the relationship between pipe diameter and water pressure, estimating materials, measuring things out, right? Well, that exact skill set transfers perfectly to commercial plumbing or industrial process piping later in life. The materials change, but the core competency, exactly the same. That is the power of transferability. Section 5. Time and classroom implementation. Making it reality. Okay, so the vision is great, the flexibility is there, and the philosophy is sound. But how does this actually look on a Tuesday morning in a real school schedule? 110. For the school heads listening, that's your magic number. That is the total number of hours dedicated to vocational education in a single academic year, and that is purely for instruction, excluding assessments and school events. When you translate that 110 hours into a timetable, it gives us roughly 132 periods a year. That breaks down to about 36 hours or 44 periods for each of the 3 units. Now, the framework strongly advises scheduling these as continuous blocks, like a double period on a weekday plus a single period on Saturday. Why? Because you just can't get tools out, build something, clean up, and reflect in a single 40-minute dash. Students need uninterrupted time for hands-on practice. And during those blocks, students go through these 5 authentic steps. They identify the work, visit a real site to map resources, nail down safety protocols, draft an actual bill of materials, and then they execute. They build the thing. We're talking end-to-end tasks here, from seed to harvest. No fragmented learning allowed. This totally bridges the gap between classroom theory and real-world execution. Section 6, Assessing Skills and Values Beyond Written Exams. So if learning is completely hands-on now, how on earth do we grade it?
Well, it's definitely not just about grading a final product sitting on a desk at the end of the term. Teachers are continuously observing core values and dispositions while the students are working. Are they paying attention to detail? Are they showing empathy in human services? Are they actually willing to roll up their sleeves and do the physical work? Those behaviors are just as important as the procedural steps they took.
Because we're measuring the act of doing, a single written exam at the end of the year just doesn't cut it anymore. Evaluation has to be a continuous loop. We're talking observation rubrics, rich portfolios filled with sketches and photos, viva voce, those oral exams that really dig into a student's reasoning, and applied, problem-solving written tasks instead of rote memorization. And throughout all of this, safety and equity are absolutely non-negotiable. Sure, we want to integrate tech like CAD software or AI tools to boost efficiency, but they can never replace the hands-on physical work. Most importantly, every single student, regardless of gender, background, or disability, has to be able to participate safely and meaningfully. To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a final provocative thought. The framework stresses that learning sticks best when it connects to local knowledge systems. So as you implement Kaushal Vikas, ask yourself, how will you weave your community's unique lokavidya, your local traditions and expertise, into these choices? Because when you ground this education in your students' own cultural reality, you're not just teaching them a skill, you're inspiring incredibly confident, capable learners ready for whatever comes next. Thanks for